Hello, everyone. My name is Ellie Mitchell, and I am the director of the Maryland Out of School Time Network. We are a statewide youth development organization working to increase the quality and quantity of after school and summer programs. We also, since 2016, have served as the backbone for the Maryland Coalition for Community Schools. We think that after school and community schools are such an integral part of each other, that it's important to have the alignment between our statewide network for after school and our statewide network for community schools. Today, I'm going to be talking about the evolution of Maryland community schools. A lot of work has been done around policy and advocacy with our organization and many, many other partners, which has led to this incredible expansion which you are part of. So before there was ever a Kerwin Commission or a blueprint bill, we had a long history of community schools, particularly in Baltimore City. These were funded by the city, the state, the school system, and also private philanthropy. And while this system of community schools was developing in Baltimore, you see parallel initiatives happening in Prince George's County, in Montgomery County, and in site-based places all over who really recognize the power of coordination of services, of the model of having a full-time community school coordinator, the model of thinking through how to make schools hubs of services for communities. So this has been going on for a while, but we really got some momentum going from a policy standpoint in 2016. That's when our coalition was officially launched at the National Community Schools Forum. And then we began quarterly meetings, which we hope you will maybe join us in the future, and we'll make sure to get you the dates of upcoming meetings. We have a newsletter we'd love for you to subscribe to. We do an annual We Love Community Schools Day in Annapolis. You see our great Senator Mary Washington, who's a champion for community schools, holding one of our Valentines there. We have worked in the coalition on legislation. We've done a lot of educating of elected officials, although we still always need to work on making people really fully understand what a community school strategy is. We've also provided some trainings and resource sharing. We have lots and lots of resources to provide you. And we've done a sort of speakers bureau, bringing experts in to help folks who are just starting. And we have a peer-to-peer mentoring program in Baltimore City, which we'd love to expand to other places. So some of the key policy and legislative advances, Baltimore City adopted a community school policy, which was written really in collaboration with community and advocates, and had an equity lens to it. Prince George's has also adopted a community school policy. Our first legislative win was the Community School Advisory Letter, which is HB 1420. And then that was just a letter from the State Department of Ed saying that you could use your title dollars for community schools, which doesn't sound like much, but it began the awareness building part. Then we have the original blueprint bill, the definitions bill that did define community school, and finally, the blueprint for Maryland's future became law actually in the 21 session. There's an error in that slide. And now, so lots of steps in the process. So a few things that are happening that we think you should be paying attention to. One is that part of the Blueprint for Maryland's Future legislation establishes the AIB, the Accountability and Implementation Board. Those folks, there are 7 of them, were appointed recently. And they are going to have some staff and some ability to ask really probing questions. So I think it is important that we, who are practitioners, are on the ground, are giving them perspective on what is real and what they should be thinking about. The other thing that we see is that we have a huge 2.5 million budget surplus going in, 2.5 billion. 2.5 million wouldn't be very much. $2.5 billion budget surplus going into this legislative session. And we've heard tell that there is going to be a Kerwin 3.0. We don't know if that's just going to be some technical fixes or what exactly is they're thinking about. And we're going to be working on figuring that out. Who's writing that legislation, get meetings with them early and providing feedback about our own thoughts. One of the things we would very much like to see is additional support for the systems building side of community schools, both at the state level and the local level, as we have been hearing that it is difficult to manage and support your community schools in those districts that have fewer than 40 and who are not allowed to then coordinate their dollars. So we're going to see continued expansion as the phase-in of the concentration poverty grant continues. So more and more schools coming on. We'll also see the per pupil funding coming in as well. And then we are trying, as I mentioned, trying to build more support for that community school systems building. We think it's really an important part of the quality of the implementation. And so those are those things that are on our horizon. If you are a policy person and you want to really dive deep into the concentration of poverty grant, which is where you see the salaries and the per pupil funding, we have a great toolkit right on our website on our Blueprint for Maryland's Future page that goes into deep detail about all the concentration of poverty provisions, the phase-in, the per pupil spending, and kind of the eligibility for that. And we also have some tips and strategies from our perspective about implementation. We try to do this all in very plain language. It's readable, but it's detailed. So I highly recommend you checking that out. And my colleague Heather May is now on maternity leave, so I am your main point of contact for at least until 2022. As I mentioned, I will make sure that we share with your folks the dates for our upcoming meetings. But if you follow us on Facebook and Twitter, go to our MD4CS page and sign up for our newsletter. We will make sure also that you get that information that way. We also have on our website a drive that has a whole bunch of great resources. So I just want to thank you for doing the really hard work of actually implementing community schools. Please feel free to reach out to us anytime you have questions, and we are here to collaborate with you and support you in your work. So keep on keeping on. Thanks.